Hello Kerbal, and welcome to Mining the Man and More, Part 19. Abort mission, and anomaly mission. Okay, sorry for that intro, but we've got things to do. Right, let's start off by reducing the orbit of the freshly caught asteroid that we've got by here. Now I want to reduce it to something sensible, say like down under the orbit of the man. So that's what we're going to do. We have to reorientate it first off, make sure we're pointing retrograde. And the reason I stopped it in the last episode, because I thought, well, we've captured it. I wasn't sure exactly what type of orbit I want to do. I want to keep it at the same inclination, but really I want to change it about a bit. Now, as you just noticed, I just fired the engines off, but everything's off balance. I'm not pointing the engines directly at the center of mass. It's awkward when you've got multiple parts connected onto it, because the center of mass shifts. Does it show the center of mass of the asteroid in relation to all the parts that are connected to it? I don't think so. So what we do is we use a reduced thrust, and this takes quite a bit of time. And I have to use the SAS and the RCS to keep it on track. Very quick skip in the video, and you can see now we reduced it to under the orbit of the man. Thought a little bit more, just that little tiny bit more, and then we can call it excellent. What it does, if we reduce the orbit, it reduces the time that it takes for us to get another craft out there to attach to the asteroid. Okay, we're doing a bit of spin, and we've run out of RCS at this point. So what I'm going to do is get rid of these engines because their purpose is no longer in need. So I'm going to reduce their orbit. However, I should have looked at which way the pusher was going. No, quick. Oh. And boom. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's going to come. Yes, a delayed explosion. Sound, there is sound in space, it's just very delayed. Must be the Einstein effect. Okay, so let's get rid of another one of these. The second one, we do have a bit better, well, we have the advantage of knowing that we shouldn't be clipping inside the asteroid with a camera to orientate it. Takes a moment to get my bearings, but there you go, thrusting away. Point retrograde, do a full burn, and we'll reduce its orbit so it crashes into Kerbal. It'll burn up the atmosphere. Now for the next one. Okay, and okay, can't seem to move it. I tried to go to the asteroid to fling it off, but nope. Undock the other one. See, it's not attached. Close it up. Burst. Still, we're not getting loose at all. Okay, the next one we do the same. Okay, this is weird. This is doing exactly the same as well, but time warp and oh, okay. That was unexpected, but we do have a cloud of debris, as you can see, appearing by here, and again we get that delayed audio. Sound is very slow in space. It's like light. Light travels very fast until you come to KSP, and it travels very slow. Hopefully until version 1.1. Okay, now we're getting this, trying to get this over, catch up to the asteroid to dock onto it, but again I'm having problems with the fuel ducts. You can see only 3 of the engines are firing. It's because that tank is empty. So I disable the other tank, and the mission control calls in. Abort mission, abort mission. This is the abort criteria. You do not have enough fuel to catch up to the asteroid and safely return to Kerbal. So abort mission. So that's what we do. Unfortunately. Why is my asteroid bases being delayed? I know I got the asteroid tutorial thing, but I wanted to do it in Mining the Man. Anyway, we get our abort criteria. We return them to Kerbal. Hopefully this will work okay. Because I'm getting a bit fed up with all these failed asteroids attempts. But anyway, we captured the asteroid, so it's still there, with no worries. All we have to do is bring these Kerbals back safely, so we can launch another attempt. Well, I suppose now we can plan on building a base, so if you don't mind, suggestions first. I know I've got a bit of power relay up there and some control like RCS blocks, like I did in my Asteroid base tutorials. By the way, I've still got the fourth one of that to plan. Delays in videos. Life is busy. So I'm going to have to work something out by there. Anyway, we return our Kerbals safely. Hopefully the parachute's open and yes, we're not falling too fast. That's always a big worry, that you don't attach enough parachutes. I only put 3 on here. Normally I put 4, but it covers one of the windows, which messes it up. Anyway, whoa, what's happening here? Yes, quick, I forgot. Everything's going too quick. Right, what is happening here is that I've launched a, what do you call it? A fuel tanker. And what I've done, I built it, I launched it, and I've got it record. Yes, I did forget to hit record. And what is this going to do? This is the actual tanker that is going to be added to our mining base on the man, if I could think of it properly. And what we're going to do is we're going to land it as close as possible. We're going to try and get a pinpoint landing, you could say. Now, tip by here, always orientate it so the nav ball uses the horizon with the sky on top and ground on the bottom. This makes it easier for landing when you're trying to reduce your orbit. When you're trying to land. Yes, it makes the controls of using the WASD keys a lot easier. It makes everything intuitive. Anyway, we're coming down. Let's engage the gear. And you can see on the top of them, I've got the re-entry shields, heat shields. And that's for no purpose other than making it look cool. Now, the tanks lack a rounded top, so I've decided to put them on top. So they serve no real purpose. Right. Now, let's quickly reduce the orbit. What I'm going to do is try to kill the speed as soon as we're over the top. This is the best way to get precision landing. So you do need a little extra fuel at least for the landing. Okay, and we seem to be quite good. That's not too bad. Now I have to say, normally my landings are quite far off. And I say that, but I realise at this point that after getting used to the game quite many times, that my pinpoint landing has improved quite considerably. And the reason is just not, practice and all that. Yes, practice landing, but you practice. Getting pinpoint landing is just a bit of knowledge that you have to get over the arc, over your landing spot, and then kill your speed just before you reach it. Okay, down there you can see our rover, our miner rover, and our processing lab. Okay, we're not too far off. I want to get a bit closer because we got fuel ports on this, and what the idea is, we're going to mine the fuel. The rover's going to come back to the ore processor, offload the ore, and then we can transfer the we can refine it to fuel and transfer it to the refueler tanker here, which is not actually going to go up and down landing, although it could, I suppose. It is a refueling station, but I want a third vessel for ferrying the fuel from top to bottom, from the surface of the moon to the orbit. And at this point I think I should apologise. My throat is... well, I've got a bit of a bunged up nose. I don't think my throat's that sore. It's just that if you can hear my nasal voice, you can find out that I've got a cold. So you have to excuse me for that. However, let's get back to this. I'm forgetting. Okay, a bit of a cutscene by here, hopefully coming up because we've landed. Yes! Always an achievement when you land. A bit of a cutscene because it takes quite a few attempts to get this close. All I want to do now is no. Oh, yeah, I did a cutscene to get a little closer. Yes, I also forgot. I forgot to add solar panels to this. So hopefully what we can do is attach this via the ducts, those connections, and hopefully it transfers electricity from those solar panels. Let's do a little launch by here and rotate it sideways so we can get one of the fuel ducts a little closer to the processor, or the refinery, as you would call it. Okay, that is done. Everything is in place. At this point, yeah, there's one of the fuel ducts, and it's going to attach back to here, the fuel duct. Unfortunately, we need a Kerbal to attach it, and we have no Kerbals on hand. Oh, we do have on the old mining place, but now what I was planning on doing is, once this is fully operational, I want to use the evacuation system from the space station, or the manned space station, and the Kerbal mining area. So, you know, once this is operational, we can use all our facilities to shut down the mining operation, or the old one. Okay, so I asked on last episode if you wanted to do an anomaly hunt. Now, as the map has been completed, we have several anomalies that I'm quite interested in. In fact, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the equator, which makes for easy landing. Especially when you've got a lander orbiting at the equator. So anyway, now that is all scanned, we can shut this down because I've noticed that the scan sats slightly slows the game down because it's actually working in the background, even when you're not flying it. So here's the ship I'm going to use. The MUN Surveyor Mark II. Originally, the MUN Surveyor Mark II was designed for landing on the Mun and surveying the ore concentration in one area. Oh, by the way, I'm going to build this Apollo style, so we have a lander and an orbiter. I thought, why not? It'll be quite fun, as it's sort of like you're discovering something new. So yeah, but the problem is the Kerbal administration decided to use the Mark I design rather than the Mark II. So, and the Mark I was a low cost and was oh, I had some sort of thing going here and I lost it. Okay, so the Mark I was consumed because they considered low cost over functionality. So the Mark I Surveyor was designed, it was used, but it had no RCS. So for docking, it was absolutely a nightmare. And if you want to check that out, if you go to part 3 of Mining the Man, then you'll see me trying to dock that. It takes me a few little attempts, but I in fact do it. And it is awesome that I did do it. Okay, everything's set up now. The Mark 8, we got the 80-ton launcher. There's a couple of things I forgot by here. 1, struts. Because you need that to stop the over wobbling when you're launching into space. And 2, let's add some ports to this, and the reason is because we can use this, land this at the mining site and refuel it and do a couple of hops and skips that'll get us to multiple anomalies. So we don't have to land at one anomaly, we can do a couple of missions as long as we can refuel the lander. Okay, now we're at launch. Perhaps I can talk a bit about me. Alright, so what I want to know is I've got over 2,000 subs. I haven't thought of a 2,000 sub special. However, I have to say though, I've started a KSP server. Now the only problem is the KSP server still uses 1.0.4. I don't think they've updated Dark Multiplayer. And no, you can't join because there's only a couple of slots on it, and I've already got a friend on it. I'm going to invite another friend onto it, so I plan on doing some videos on it. I'm not sure entirely what I'm going to do with it. If the other people don't want to be on the videos, that's fair enough. I won't force them to. I also could do, some people have asked me to do a career mode now that we're in 1.0.5. I did plan on waiting until version 1.1 because we have improvements in that. And yeah, that's me just showing off the landing mechanism there on MechJeb. Because, oh yes, I added MechJeb to this. That's quite an interesting use. Well, we'll get to that as we get closer to the man. Okay, let's launch this into orbit. Sorry. Well, let's get this into orbit because we've already launched it. Okay, by here I was looking for something that would get us to point at maneuver now. But is there one on my job on the SAS? Oh well, we'll forget it for now. Okay, so once we're in orbit, there's one thing I want to show you. Okay, if you got Kerbal Engineer Redux, there's a handy, simple tool on there. You can add extra stuff to it. So if I go to the HUD one, and that's the top left one on the screen, you can add burn time to it. And in fact, I'm going to add half burn time. Because what that gives us is it tells us the time, say like it says 29 seconds, then once your time to maneuver now goes to 29 seconds, it will burn then and there. So you know the exact time. Because, yeah, and a bit staging by here. Because the Kerbal game has trouble calculating the amount of burn time that you can use, or that you need for the game once you've staged. It needs you to burn the engine fully before you can tells you the full burn time. But the Kerbal Engine Redux allows you, it calculates the entire ship and says, alright, you've got this amount of time for this burn and this amount of time for that, for the next engine fuel, and so it works out exactly how much time you need to burn. I think through stages as well, which is quite handy to know. Right, we're on a 50-kilometer periapsis here. I decided to use MechJet to get us into man orbit. And ignore that glitch where the fairing for the heat shield is gone. Yeah, and there's one thing I've forgotten. And no, it's not the solar arrays that I've just opened up. And that is, we forgot to decouple this, turn the lander around and dock it back onto it, like they did in the Apollo. So that's what we're going to do right here. Okay, let's stage this. And luckily I didn't stage because it was misstaged. Okay, so everything's up and right. All we have to do now. Right, we haven't got any Kerbals in the transfer stage, which is the orbit stage behind us. So we're going to have to use the lander to dock to that. Okay, everything's quite simple. However, there is no forward or backward motion on our RCS. Now the RCS blocks on this one has translation. It can go side to side, up, down, left, right, turning. This one can go up, down, left, right, turn and all that, but it's got no it can't go forward or backwards because the RCS ports are sideways to the ship, not around it. So we're going to have to do a daring endeavor by here. Right, we're in deep space. We're on our way to the man. Islina is the only one, as she is the designated pilot for this mission, to transfer over to the orbit stage. It is the only way that we can save this mission because, well, we could use the lander to get into orbit, but where's the fun in that? Okay, Islina quickly gets on board. Now that's a risky thing for real astronauts because you can't, without a tether or a jetpack, your fuel could run out quickly. The normal spacewalks, they've got limited amount of RCS fuel. If you drift away from the space station, which is quite easy, then you're almost lost. It is quite scary thought. You know, that the only thing that's keeping you there is the tethers that you attach to the station every so often, that you use the rungs to go across the station. Okay, now that we're in this, we can use this to dock to the lander. So a note, when you're docking, and it can be a bit stressful, just do everything slow. First off, line up the ports. I'm using the docking alignment tool. If you haven't got that, just roughly line them up. Get close and then line them up properly. Get closer again. But do it very slowly. Yes, docking can be a boring thing to do, but it can be quite rewarding. If you have the patience, it can be fun. Okay, we've almost got this lined up. We've got this in the bag, and obviously I've pre-recorded this, so and commentated over the top of the video. Okay, we have got plenty of time. Okay, coming in slowly. And yes. Lovely docking. If I do say so myself, and I do say so. Okay, now everybody is up and running. Execute the node, and yeah, the node seems to be lost. And for some reason, I couldn't add a maneuver node by here. I'm not sure if it's Kerbal Space Program, or perhaps some of the mods I've added. So the only way I can do it is use MechJeb to add a maneuver node. It doesn't appear there, but MechJeb, being the helpful computer it is, MechJeb, by the way, it takes the memory of Jebediah Kerman, placed it into a chip, a very small chip, by the way, and uses it for the pilot computer, because that's all Jeb is. He's a badass. He's the best pilot there is. However, he eats all the snacks. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but anyway. Okay, now we're in orbit. I can show you the landing tool. Okay, all you have to do is click on pick on target on map, and let's check where we are. You get this yellow crosshair, or is it a 3 crosshair when you got 3 parts to it? Anyway, that's where we want to land, by the mining base. That way we can use the mining base. I've already started ore mining. It's not that fast without an engineer Kerbal, but we've got an engineer landing there, so we can helpfully improve that. We'll have to land some Kerbals there. By here, I'm taking down the coordinates of the base and just adding those to MechJeb and just slightly altering it so it's not too close to the base, and hopefully we don't crash, because this is going to be automatic. Okay, land on air, and forgot to activate the engine. So first off, MechJeb aligns the inclination with the target, and then burns hell for leather. It's not the most efficient of landing tools. If you want to land efficiently, then I suggest you practice. Although MechJeb is a handy tool for learning. So if you're unsure on how to play the game, MechJeb is a tool for you. Just use it for learning. Build simple craft, use it for learning, landing, and all sorts. But at one point, you're going to have to take the joystick of the spacecraft, or the keys, whichever is handy for you, and then land. By the way, that reminds me, how is the Xbox, I think the Wii U, and the PlayStation 4 versions of KSP coming? Are they going to use version 1.1? It makes sense if they use version 1.1, because it makes everything work together. Or perhaps they have to work out the code for multiplayer, because that is one thing I'm looking forward to. I'll give you more details as well on my KSP server. Not how to log onto it, by the way, just on how to do it. What I'm going to do with it. Because I want to do full videos on that. That's more for fun. I don't get much time to do videos and play games at the minute. Even now I've joined the Minecraft server. So any tips on Minecraft, let me know, because I'm new to that. Anyway, obviously this is MechJeb we're talking about, so landing is going to be perfect. So I'm going to ask you, if you like this video, hit that like button. And if you're not and you enjoyed this, there's more coming, so hit that subscribe button. And any comments, tips, or whatever you want to know, let me know below. I'm Orbital. Trust me, I'm an engineer.